You can also play like Aurelia into it, but he has played that much more less frequently. And if you are going to try and set up your blind Gnar for Alphari on this side, because they know their blue side, and they're going to have to do that with some of their solo lanes, that would be the cover ban to go for. If TSM are they're either just shouting that out, exactly what like I'm saying, how they see Team Liquid's plan, or they could just actually take it away from Team Liquid and then say, hey, Alphari, you play the Aurelia. You actually, the thing is, if you call Alphari on that, he'll definitely play it.
Yeah.
He's definitely willing to play the other counters and the all-in ones and look for those solo kills. So dangerous game you'd be playing if you decided to call him out. So they just hover and say, hey, we know what you're doing.
All right, Spica likes to hover over Kayn every game. You're not going to pick Kayn when Olaf has already been drafted, so no bamboozle there. We already got the Udyr, first pick of the entire draft for TL, and we're going to have Olaf on the side of TSM. And next to Olaf, they draft the Seraphine. It worked so well in game number 3. It synergizes wonderfully with Olaf. It gives Seraphine that extra range on the ulti when it's able to tap Olaf as he dives into the whole fight. Very, very powerful combo here for TSM to start things off with.
Yeah, Seraphine is just what that Berserker needs to keep on chugging away in the mid-game, Captain Flowers.
Some K-pop?
Hear those?
That's what the Vikings needed to fund their war campaign, some K-pop in the background.
That's why the Vikings didn't take over the entire world. You know, if there was the right timeline to match up, K-pop and Vikings, boom, whoa, we'd be living in a different world here. But guess what? The one that went through the bans in favor of Tristana being banned out here by TSM, by nature of them being on red side and them having to ban out the Tristana, they let through the Twisted Fate. Team Liquid snatch it up.
Twisted Fate gets to be played in this series for the first time. As you pointed out, he had been banned by TSM on blue side in all 3 previous games, but now Jensen gets to pilot him here in this one. The Gnar will be picked up by the side of TL as well, while we can see TSM has decided to grab themselves their support, so this guarantees that Seraphine will not be in that role. It will probably just be the mid lane Seraphine from PowerOfEvil here yet again, and we'll see how the ban phase shakes out in this second half. Knowing they have their support, Rel's already been banned away. It looks like TSM is targeting further engage options, removing Alistar from the field of available choices here. Gangplank banned out by TL. They don't want to have to deal with Huni on one of those signature picks. You mentioned that along next to his Rumble earlier on in the series. Now, I wonder if TSM goes all the way with the support bans and goes for Leona here, or if they want to switch it up. No, the Thresh was the choice instead.
And I want to check back in on the second part of the scenario I posted before with the Gnar, setting up the Gnar blind there from Team Liquid. Team Liquid also calling it, saying, hey, we see what you're doing here, but still not locking in for Huni in the first round before these bans come in, allowing Team Liquid to now further protect this Gnar with the GP you're talking about. So if TSM don't do it there in first round, I want to see them slam down Aurelia. I really want to see Huni actually do it. That is something you can kill mini Gnar. You get to choose your opening. You have an Olaf jungle into this Udyr. You can still get early prio there. You know, it's built well for Seraphine and Nautilus later on. Aurelia can operate within those confines. The problem is the Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate makes your side lanes so much harder to play counter picks on, so much harder to play kill pressure matchups on. So that's the reason we don't see it happen here. You can't throw down an Aurelia if the Twisted Fate from mid lane is going to be constantly threatening his ultimate over. And so they just go with the Gnar. It's more boring, but that's going to be the case there. And they're going to put all their faith in Lost carrying the damage, burden there for TSM. It is going to be some early snowball certainly off of Olaf, and maybe we see a more offensive build out of Spica because of that. But is going to put a lot of effort here around protecting Lost and building up Lost as this big carry through the mid game for TSM, where they really again want to play off this Seraphine early 2-item spike.
Okay, so the Leona I mentioned earlier does end up being the choice for CoreJJ. There's just not enough bans in the game to get rid of every one of these tanky engaged supports, but Alistar and Thresh do generally have more defensive power than what Leona does. Leona is all about diving in there and being a menace, diving into your team. And Sivir, and the stats came up on the screen while you were talking, so for anybody who didn't see those, she has a 2% pick rate and a 0% ban rate. This is not a super popular champion in the meta right now, but it's what Team Liquid thinks is the answer for wrapping this series up 3-1, and the final pick of the draft will be the Xayah here for TSM.
I like the Sivir because it gives you the speed to try and disengage away from this, what we just saw last game. Seraphine, Nautilus come at you. They're trying to get their point and click, trying to get this big AoE of the Seraphine, charge you down, force you into this fight. Mobility is going to be key here for Team Liquid. They need to try and use this Twisted Fate early ultimates, try and get some of their side lane pressure in their favor, try and build up this Sivir, build up this Gnar to be a force in the side lane there for Alphari. Because it's going to be a very similar case there for TSM with this team composition, and having the Xayah and the comfortability there for for Lost to be able to carry a lot of these team fights, have the safety of his own ultimate, and this giant group of frontline peeling heals and shields around him. That is going to be the 5-on-5 setup for TSM. They don't have the same side lane split pushing outs that they did in the previous game.
Grievous wounds. Grievous wounds. Grievous
Putrefier.
Wounds. Grievous wounds is what Team Liquid needs to build this game. When you're looking at a composition with Gragas, with Olaf, with Seraphine in mid lane in particular, it's got to be done. Now, for the side of TSM, Grievous wounds will not be able to shut down TL to the same degree it did in the previous game, where they were running a Nidalee and a Sylas and an Aatrox and all these massive healers in their own right. There's not nearly as much of that natural healing on TL's composition this side around, but TL themselves will have to make sure they're properly prioritizing that itemization here, as we're not seeing much of anything at the level 1. Everybody just sort of drawing the line of scrimmage and saying, all right, it's game number 4. We're just going to take this one easy, no risks here before the minions spawn.
But we do have a Comet Gragas, and I spy a Comet Gragas. That means I'm looking at some AP Gragas from Huni from the top side. So they actually will have a bit more diverse of a damage burden to be carried in these team fights if Huni does commit to it. And it would be really awkward to do a tank Gragas build as Comet. Wouldn't really make any sense. You would go with the Grasp. Especially since you are, looking at Gnar here. You're looking at some more burst damage opportunities for Huni, throwing at your barrel, getting that harassment. So I definitely do like the adaptation here. Goes Comet, goes for probably the AP Gragas version, and does provide a decent amount of setup for a lot of these fights as well, with some disruption you can provide with your Gragas ultimate. The only difficulty really will be, again, looking at surviving these early Twisted Fate ultimates, as Udyr should be able to get some early control and route around as well. Twisted Fate, Jensen, that's the guy we're looking at for Team Liquid to be the early playmaker on one of the champions that he's actually had a decent amount of success. As much as people say, oh, Jensen's always in lane, stays in lane too much, has had success with Twisted Fate and has had, quite good as far as the early accuracy of those ultimates. Forcing for level 2 though.
Oh, but the dredge line does not hit the target, so CoreJJ and Tactical a level down, avoid the punish from the TSM 2v2 down here. Both junglers are heading opposite directions here in this game as Spica clears towards the top half of the jungle here. You can see that ward was there, but it should have seen the little chickens get aggroed, even if it doesn't see the very end of the fight. So the pings, you can see the question mark from TL saying, all right, we expect he's on his red buff right now. Jensen steps forward, looking for a little bit of extra damage onto PowerOfEvil, knowing that Olaf is all the way over there. He can't just turn the corner and come out from the chicken camp and surprise him.
Yep, no surprise there. Both junglers pretty easy to track, and that's why you still see Santorin routing up to top side instead of just taking the bottom side scuttle. I really like this from Santorin. He's going for the double scuttle crab instead of doing Krugs. He's not doing the Udyr full clear, which would be kind of just your autopilot, from solo queue. He actually takes away top scuttle crab before Spica can get there, gets sight on Spica, pops his ghost, protects Alphari in his pushing Gnar matchup on top side, where he's already run Huni dry. Just this is the really intelligent jungle pathing that goes unnoticed because it doesn't result in kills, but it's very impactful for these lane matchups, is very impactful for the overall game plan of Team Liquid. And now he's coming up behind Huni after having forced Spica to the recall and into the bottom side transition. There's going to be no support for Huni here, because even if PowerOfEvil teleported, he would have no mana as Seraphine. He's trying to recall now.
They go. Late. Santorin will be the one tanking the aggro here at the very start. He goes all the way back out. The aggro will be dropped and Huni stays alive. taking a swig out of the cask, back to 300 HP. CoreJJ is late to the play, and that means PowerOfEvil's already able to arrive. CoreJJ going in, he'll be the one tanking it up, steps away from the turret shots. First blood over to Team Liquid, but they give 2 back. That was not a good dive.
It's a disaster, Flowers! They actually give up 2 kills in addition to expending their flash on the Udyr and the teleport from Jensen, now getting chased down by SwordArt.
It could be even more kills after that. Jensen gets away, but CoreJJ doesn't just yet. A little bit more damage coming through. Core is alive, but not any longer. PowerOfEvil grabbing kill number 3 of the game here for TSM.
TSM going to continue to push into Team Liquid territory. There's a ward on Tribush. Alphari actually calls Santorin over, but it is still going to be outnumbered scenario as everybody joins the party except for the AD carries. And that means it's time for a 1v1.
And Lost is going in. He's saying, all right, Tactical doesn't have a lot of mana left to work with, but Tactical says, I got enough. Turns it right back around, and Lost is forced to flash away. Flash for heal, the Summoner Spell trade down here.
And he's also saying, hey, I got fingers over here, okay? You think I'm not going to spell shield the Blade Caller? Lost chased him down, builds up the feathers, but you know, Spell Shield solves that problem, forces the flash out. Here is a look at the delay. Because they don't get the kill on this initial dive onto Huni, that buys time. As we were saying, Seraphine recalled. PowerOfEvil had no mana when the dive started, but he was able to recall, buy enough time in Fountain to get his mana back, then teleport back out. And CoreJJ flashes. They also get the extra tower shot there onto both Santorin and Alphari. So 2 kills go over to TSM, and they just get to call over everybody else. With SwordArt gaining the distance on his hook towards the wall and then flashing in, getting the Ignite onto Jensen. They're able to just continue to chase down the extra members. Let's see about this little extra damage. Does it come from the burn from the red buff? PoE having gotten the last hit onto Santorin had a red buff, which burns him away for the extra kill.
But one thing that's worth pointing out here, even though it's 3 kills over to TSM compared to the 1 on the side of Team Liquid, the gold advantage is barely registering at all. It's 10.7 to 10.7, and a big reason for that is the CS difference between the champions that you'll be able to see here in just a moment, because Team Liquid does have enough of those leads. There in the mid lane, it's 3 waves almost for Jensen. Up there in top side, nearly the same, a 3-wave advantage almost for Alphari, and those numbers are providing that gold difference, making up for the Team Liquid misplay in that dive.
And also remember, some of the extra gold, given Twisted Fate's high CS numbers, it comes from the passive from his loaded dice. So the fact that he is the extra CS up here over PoE, couple of waves in advance, also translates into more loaded dice, extra gold for them. So TSM will be able to start off the Dragon on the reset. They have the reset from Tactical and CoreJJ back into base. That gives you your opening. Olaf is one of the best early Dragon takers. Just murders this thing with EQ spam. So even on Vision, on Scuttle Crab, with the bottom lane recall like that, TSM get Dragon number 1.
Drake number 1, good stuff for the side of TSM. Feeling comfy about that. They're also shoving the bottom wave up here, making Tactical lose a couple of minions as he rotates back down to the bottom lane, but he's there in time for the cannon. CoreJJ passes that off with the bloop, and Alphari will maintain lane control. Man, look at Huni's laning experience. This is when you're having a bad time in the top lane 1v1. This is where you're just stuck waiting for the dude to shove the wave into the turret and hoping for the best. Alphari just farming plates up here. Huni can finally walk back over a little bit, does grab at least the cannon minion, but the gold discrepancy between the top laners is a cool 500 for Alphari, despite being 0-1.
It's a Twisted Fate diff, my brother. Anytime you got your Twisted Fate, you see even on the mini-map, there's a hover over there from Jensen. You don't even have to fully roam as Twisted Fate. That's the best part. You push your wave, and then you head halfway into the river, and you just force them off of minion waves. Plus, we also saw the ramifications of the dive. The reason you go for dives on these big double and triple stacked waves is that even if it goes a little bit wrong like that and you give over the extra kill, you're still doing it on a minion wave that's denying CS to your opponents in the chaos as everybody's fighting with these teleports and trying to counter these and take down champions. So some of the CS hovering over from that, and the rest of it being pushed off there from Twisted Fate, slight hovers from mid lane.
Team Liquid and TSM, man. This series has been a lot of fun to watch here so far, and hopefully this 4th game brings all the excitement that the previous ones did as well. With the Rift Herald now on the map and TSM heading over there, does TL want to fight for it? Are they willing to commit bodies here to this engagement? There is 4 players already on site for TSM. Santorin running away here. The Udyr is only level 6. He's not particularly tanky. It's not like he can just jump in there and try to survive against an Olaf, against a Gragas, against the CC power of the Seraphine and Nautilus too, locking him down. Team Liquid will rotate over enough to stop the Rift Herald take. Scuttlecrab has spawned. Santorin will start that one up, break the shield at least, but now little Scuttlecrab has walked over into the waiting arms of TSM, so they'll pick that one up for free.
Hey, you guess who else walked over? Tactical's got a lead on the race from bottom lane. That's why I was like, Sivir is running up the river, and TSM had to back off until Lost could actually make up that ground. Sivir can run way faster, could even pop the ultimate. Team Liquid now, though, gonna choose to go in. Alphari has Gnar available.
Do they really want to go in yet or no? Okay, here's the ulti. CoreJJ starting it off, flashing away. Gnar onto multiple people. TSM's just getting scattered all over the place. Lost with a cleanse. Flash over the wall, staying alive. But the Olaf runs out of Ragnarok at the very critical moment there at the end. CoreJJ nearly dying off here in mid from PowerOfEvil. But that fight goes the way of TL.
Some of these retreats off of objectives, Flowers, are just making me stand on my tiptoes. Both teams. Last game, we saw a giant grouping versus the Gangplank. We're not done with this story. Smite on and Rift Herald.
Rift Herald is taken. Team Liquid able to secure that one. Santorin going back for the eye. And now TL knows it's time to get the hell out of town. They are not allowed to stay here any longer without consequences. SwordArt's coming up. Tactical wants to run away. Needs a blast cone, but he's only going to get blasted all the way back to the spawn platform, baby. PowerOfEvil, 4-0-1 on the Seraphine. SwordArt has found himself overextended behind enemy lines. Stuck around a little bit too long, or did he? Jensen teleports back out here, but Alphari cannot get enough damage in time, and SwordArt gets away.
All right, no more challengers approaching now. We can take a breather to decipher what went on. This grouping, again, these objective retreats that we see. TSM, they flash and walk right back into a giant grouping for Alphari. It's because the CoreJJ Leona ultimate was already used. You know, they spread out a little bit for that, but then Alphari chooses his moment. You could tell he's just itching to get in there with the flash on the Gnar. He had fully charged up his Gnar Rage Bard in preparation for this Rift Herald, so it's completely telegraphed. You can see Team Liquid are for sure going to go for this initiation on the team fight, and they just catch TSM on the back foot, even with the Seraphine setup there on the side of TSM, with SwordArt going for initiation there on Leona, and Alphari just flashes in to catch them after they get the flashback from SwordArt into the rest of the grouping. And that AoE giant Gnar is enough time for them to burn down these extra members. Plus, having gotten the Rift Herald means quick work of that top turret, and Alphari wants to make this one count on second turret as well.
Top turret getting slammed by the Rift Herald. It looked a little bit unfortunate almost up there. Usually when Shelly's summoned up so far away from a turret, it's because the timer was running out. But despite that, they get huge value out of it. They grab the first turret of the game. Team Liquid has a 3,000 gold lead, but it's TSM who will now have a 2-0 Drake advantage. They have all the bodies here on the bottom side of the river. They take that one for free. SwordArt's coming in, looking to make some sort of a play. Defensive Leona ulti keeps enough distance between SwordArt and Tactical that Tactical can get away as well.
Meanwhile, continuing our story of Alphari on the top side, he's been left alone, my friend. And that means the tower is done. Jensen even works off a plate by hand in mid lane. This is really well executed by Team Liquid after their top side win off this Rift Herald fight to balloon as much gold out of that early objective victory as they possibly can, because they're facing the dragon stacking here of Team Liquid, but what they're gaining during the time they're giving up these dragons is going to fund their war efforts to fighting the rest ones. Yeah, they give up second dragon here to TSM, but with Alphari taking down the extra tower on top side, he's already fully completed Stridebreaker, about to cash in on Cole as well, and if he can manage his Rage Bar as well as he did at the Rift Herald fight, this will be a very scary Team Liquid to fight at Dragon number 3, and a tall task for TSM to actually continue on that route. Even though they they want to fight on these, Seraphine power spikes here. The Moonstone's completed for PowerOfEvil. They need a much better setup. Can't allow themselves to group up there for another Alphari Mega Gnar.
Now Spica gives away this next blue buff over to PoE. Let him keep spamming them spells. Feels good. But man, oh man, TSM down about 4,000 gold here. Quite a lot at 14 minutes into the game. Wild cards thrown over the wall, so Jensen has a blue too. Mythic items are online for almost everyone. You can see not quite available here for the top half of the TSM roster. Gragas still struggling a bit. That top lane has been rough, man. That top lane's been rough. The things that you pointed out about Twisted Fate dropping out of vision just means you got to surrender everything. He's 40 CS behind his opponent.
Yeah, diving on the big wave. Twisted Fate's always gonna ult you. It's definitely a rough life, especially since he did opt into the AP build. It's not quite as bad if you're tanking. You're just like, okay, you know what? I'm a slightly less beefy tank front line. But with the Comet matchup there for top side, he's not gonna have a very big damage output and is gonna have to choose his moments wisely to actually go in. Thankfully for Gragas, as long as your flash is up, you're a big threat in the team fight. Just the CC that you bring to it and the decent burst damage for base damages will provide a good initiation for him. It does mean that Alphari will have perma priority for side pushing, and he's going to have to take 2v1 scenarios in order to stop.
He flashes the first axe, and that's the important part. So many times we've seen people try to get away from an Olaf. They don't flash the first axe, and then you can just get run down even if you flash the next one. But he gets away. Alphari maintaining his lead here in this game. Jensen coming in, gets the stun with a gold card onto PowerOfEvil. TL wondering whether or not they should commit to this. Nice fancy feat from Santorin. Getting out of the dredge line. Jensen with the Everfrost with a flash away. He escapes too. You gotta be kidding. TL, get everybody out.
Everybody's got their juke shoes on, and it do require a couple of flashes being burned here. Alphari no flash, Santorin no flash, Jensen no flash after these last few moves. And all that it cost TSM was a defensive flash there from PowerOfEvil and the teleport coming in from Huni. So while it is still going to be side priority from Alphari, both teleports being used from these top laners actually might benefit TSM, as they are not going to be the ones getting these first shoves on the side waves with how far Huni's been kept behind in this game. And they have to rely on their power of Seraphine grouping up to accelerate the Olaf and the Nautilus, looking for that big team fight for them. Coming up to this dragon 1 minute ahead of time. Again, everybody now looking for their control wards. Recalls go off, even teleport used by PoE to get back here in time. With the Staff of Flowing Water completed just in time for this team fight, even though TSM are behind, the 4 kills on TSM have gone to PoE. So they have been able to still hit that 2-item power spike for TSM this time around. And that Staff of Flowing Water adding the extra move speed and AP to the rest of TSM.
It was there. He had the spell shield. He had the spell shield. Even if it hit him, he would have been able to walk it off. So tactical stays all right just now. And I like the fact that you pointed out the flashes earlier, because flash itself doesn't actually give you a lead in the game when you use it. It's all about if you can punish those 5 minutes after. That next dragon fight is coming up here in about 15 seconds. CoreJJ with a Hex Flash over the wall, going in underneath the tier 1 turret. They don't have the bodies here ready to fight just yet. Olaf unstoppable, staying alive here on the front line, but will be killed away now at the very end. Lost gets jumped on, cleansing away from some of the CC, pulls back the feathers, but not far enough. Jensen still in hot pursuit with a gold card. Welcome to the Shadow Realm, baby. Tactical grabs the kill. And TL, they go 2 for 1 even without the flashes.
Yep, they all had eyes on Gnar, and even though Alphari is not there and doesn't have teleport, it's CoreJJ that makes the difference with his initiation.
It's always CoreJJ! It's always CoreJJ!
Everybody had Alphari big in their minds because of the Rift Herald fight. Like, okay, don't get ulted by this Gnar. We have time to push this tower before the dragon spawns. But CoreJJ says, hands off that tower, goes in for the initiation, even numbers down for Team Liquid. They initiate on them under the tower, so they've got the extra pseudo member there of the tower damage going through, and Team Liquid can pick them off as they chase through. like we're seeing here. Twisted Fate is still pushing away. They see Gnar in the river, but CoreJJ goes with 3 people into 5. 3-on-5 initiation. Tactical is able to avoid the Seraphine ultimate, so gets off the damage there from Sivir, and with Jensen being able to ult in and Alphari making his way up the river, then they have enough people to chase them off of that tower. Just barely in gold card range means that you always get hit by Everfrost. That combination is unavoidable, and why Twisted Fate has come back so heavily into the meta. What a play there from TSM. They get the dragon after, or excuse me, from Team Liquid. They get the dragon afterwards, putting a stop to TSM's dragon stacking.
Yeah, that felt like that was one of the remaining win cons for TSM. Being this far behind in gold, that Drake stacking was something they could put a little bit of hope in, but TL has squashed that hope, and now they're going for a play here underneath the tier 2 in the bottom lane. Chain CC with the Everfrost and the gold card. Jensen takes one last shot. He'll say, actually, I would not like one more turret shot, using the stasis there to get away from that. The stopwatch breaks, so he will not have that available again until the Zonias is fully completed. But Team Liquid make another play. They put Huni further behind in the game and continue building up this lead. 6,000 gold at 20 minutes, Kobe. That is a mountain for TSM to climb.
Huni here on the AP version of Gragas, just crying. Can I please play League of Legends? CoreJJ does Hex Splash over, but it's just a yoke, my friend. Nice little chunk onto Lost. But they just basically get him off the turret while they're split pushing, and Jensen claims the prize for Team Liquid.
Okay, so the question I have to pose for you now, how do you get back in this as TSM? Because they have this build. Never mind, we don't even have time for theatrics. We don't have time for hypotheticals. We got a team fight instead. Tactical Spell Shield will absorb the ulti from SwordArt. CoreJJ's down to a quarter HP. Huni has teleported behind enemy lines, but now he has to flash away defensively, and he's still gonna die. Oh no, it's your team's Huni versus their team's Huni, and this is your team's Huni. Not what TSM needed. As Santorin comes around with the flash over the wall, starting everything up. He'll be tanking him down. He's surely to die here. Lost grabs the kill on that one. SwordArt's not even going to get traded away just yet. He burns down to CoreJJ in a 1-for-1 on the back end of the fight.
Even still, this far down, and without an extra person, you can see the power of the counter there from TSM with the big AoE through this small corridor as they actually burn down Alphari. Little slow does land on Tactical. Second cast there from PowerOfEvil. Past that spell shield, but no further action actually takes place. This AP Gragas from the weak side is so squishy. Huni was teleporting in proactively for that attempt at a pick from TSM, but since their vision is incomplete because they don't have control of the map to get their deep vision down, they didn't have eyes on Alphari, and then you're just teleporting in behind enemy lines, and this is a level 13 Gnar that blocks the way, so they take down the Gragas. No stopwatch there for him, just the Night Harvester and Lucidity Boots, offensive stats there, so it's actually even squishier than you would see a lot of jungle Gragas at this point in the game. Here's another look at the attempted pick, though. Oh, they actually, attempting to go there here for Huni. The control word goes down for Alphari. They're like, look at this, juicy arrival. Who called up the Uber Eats flowers? This is exactly what we ordered. Huni down. The chase is where it actually showcases the power of grouping for the TSM comp. They do actually burst down Santorin, and just the zoning of that Seraphine ultimate allows Lost to get so many feathers down. He blade collars and buys time for them to retreat, almost allowing for the shield from SwordArt to allow him to survive, and that would have made it a 1v1, but they do, with the extra ignite damage, take down SwordArt as well, so Team Liquid still net positive on that for the extra kills and burning out extra summoner spells here for TSM. Look at these bounties on basically all members of Team Liquid Flowers.
This is ridiculous. Santorin's the only person without a bounty on him. He's 0-3-7. He's been a part of most of the kills here for his team. Usually he's the sacrificial lamb who just has to go cause enough trouble. Yeah, he gets his butt kicked, but then it doesn't matter. His team can clean up everybody else. 30 seconds until the next Drake spawns. How is TSM even supposed to contest Team Liquid in open ground like this? 8,500 gold down at 23 minutes.
Yeah, I would advise against it at the moment.
Okay.
It's just Dragon number 2, and it would be amazing if you could get it, but maybe they actually just brute force, because they're going to get split pushed to death if they don't. This is the trouble with having no split push answer. You have no side lane fighting capabilities because your solo laners are a Seraphine and half of a Gragas. The side lanes.
Half of a Gragas. Oh, the man needs to go on a diet, but not like that. TSM, they're going after the Drake. Team Liquid is having Jensen just stay up here in the top side. He has swapped over to a barrier secondary with his Summoner Spellbook, so he's not able to join this fight. Dragon is grabbed by TSM, but now Team Liquid's just trying to stop them from rotating back up into the top lane. TL wants to trade that third Drake from an inhib, and that is what will be done.
It's basically the most frustrating way to play League of Legends is when you are the slower moving 5v5 and you're just chasing around trying to pick off these incredibly quick split pushers. Team Liquid have side lane dominance. It's TL supremacy for side lanes for this entire game since they set up Alphari and they have Twisted Fate here. 2-0 start, Everfrost, Lichbane, and 10 stacks on Darksteel for Jensen. They can also flank you.
Well, we're going in. The team fight's already started. SwordArt's about to die, but he gets away. PowerOfEvil trying to sing the same song, but he ain't singing nothing anymore. Cut the mic! Team fight goes over to Team Liquid. Tier 1 goes over to Team Liquid. And Team Liquid just keeps on keeping on, baby. 6 turrets to nothing.
Huni pouring one out for the homies there as PowerOfEvil went down. He dumps out the ultimate on that dead tower as well, only to watch Team Liquid run away with their cash. So much gold now picked up for Team Liquid. The lone hope, even for TSM, is still, okay, maybe Dragon Soul. But guess what? Versus this powerful of split pushing, Team Liquid get to put the pressure on you. They've got double teleports ready for this time around on the, even if Dragon does get here before they set up on the side lanes. Plus, your inhibitor on top side is already down. So it's so easy for TL to set up those types of flanks. Full control over these side lanes to be able to push them in, constant pressure on TSM. And if you're TSM, you just have to charge. Honestly, time is not your friend, so you just have to go for any catch that you can possibly get, whatever is within your Nautilus range. Gonna have to throw down your cooldowns and do not hesitate. Otherwise, your base slowly falls. You start to lose control on the other half of the map.
Man, 10,000, a little bit more even than 10,000 gold difference between these squads. Team Liquid pushing up now, should feel confident in this lead, I tell you what. They've got the split push still mounting with Alphari there in the side lane. 219 to 161 there on the farms, so the lead hasn't continued building the same way that it was earlier. Jensen's going down to bottom lane, though. PowerOfEvil looking to stay alive, but the kills come through. Jensen's on a killing spree. Huni has arrived, but for what? For what? Alphari's just making it a 2-for-1. Huni tries to make a play. He wants to put it in the gallery, but they put him in the garbage. And Team Liquid is going for the base. Now, Tier 3 turret is already gone. Inhibitors on the menu. It is 5v3 for the next 25 seconds.
That feel when you teleport in and you're CC'd straight from 100 to 0. You're just mashing your stopwatch. Huni can't even go golden to buy any time. Just dies. Team Liquid will complete all 3. The triumvirate of inhibitors is taken here for Team Liquid. The map is won. It is theirs. And they will be able to pick up the Baron as well. Just go for the recall. Spend all that extra cash. This is Team Liquid. They're used to high bankrolls.
Yeah, they got the, hey, this gold lead right now, paid by Steve, baby. 12.5 thousand gold lead. That's some pretty incredible stuff. TSM is stuck in the base. They're not going anywhere. All 3 inhibitors are down. Yes, they still have both Nexus turrets. So they still have that last, maybe sliver of hope trying to survive. But man, is it just a sliver. Baron's on the table, and TL, they know that there's no way TSM can contest this.
All right, here's the game plan, Flowers. Everybody group up. You send Huni out first. As soon as Team Liquid go and kill Huni, you pounce, and you try and get one back there. Huni, you're going to have to start spamming your stopwatch immediately as you start this play as well. It doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Super Minions too big of homework to deal with there for TSM, so they're just going to have to wait patiently for TL to come to them.
TL grabbing the Baron. They don't even need everybody in the same area, man. They don't even need Gnar in the same zip code as this. They know that TSM has no ability to leave that base at all. Red Bull Baron for TL. 20 seconds until the Drake, but quite honestly, who cares? TL have everything they need to end the game right now. A second Cloud Drake will not really be the make or break for anything here. Although TSM would love to have the Soul, they would much rather like to have a Nexus, and that's all they've got left now. TL pushing up all 3 lanes at once. They want to just drown TSM in these super minions, create an unfathomable amount of pressure that TSM will not be able to answer. Top lane inhibitor just about to respawn, and Jensen will do what he did the first time and start putting the damage into that one to take it out. Very easy to do with Lich Bane ready to go. Poke coming down onto the TSM players. SwordArt wants to go in. Once more, dropping the Nautilus ulti onto the Sivir, but Tactical can get away just fine. He's perfectly safe from this. Inhibitor falls down again in the top lane. TSM trying to stay together as 5, trying to defend underneath these Nexus turrets. They know this is all they have left. They know how difficult this is. Team Liquid's going in with a nice stun onto the enemy carry. SwordArt about to die here first. Nice shutdown. It's Huni grabbing one back on a tactical. Santorin's also taken out. TSM have the defense for now. 4v3 here on the map. Still trying to fight, still trying to defend. Jensen wants to try to claim at least this first Nexus turret here. A little bit more damage. Almost finds it. But close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And TSM still has both Nexus turrets. Everfrost won't be enough to guarantee a kill onto Lost, and TSM defend their Nexus so far. Alphari's trying to make a play. He goes on a rampage. They kill off Lost. Team Liquid not willing to give this one up just yet. Huni's trying to go right back in. Jensen's got a little bit more damage, but he has no mana left to work with. Spica's here on the front line, hit by the blue card. Jensen bringing a couple more spells back in. Alphari goes in for the wallop. CoreJJ with a follow-up, seeing his blade. Alphari's unstoppable, but it's a 1-for-1 trade on the back end of the fight. CoreJJ back alive, locking down Alphari. Team Liquid overstay, and TSM hold on.
Even with Lost dying, with his ult, flash, and cleanse available, TSM still fend off Team Liquid. They are not going to go down that easily, not going down without a fight. Team Liquid are like, okay, fine. You're going to have to defend against an extra dragon here. It's going to be a long time before we see Elder Dragon, I believe, Captain Flowers, because if TSM get the Dragon Soul, something crazy has gone on in this game. Here's another look at Alphari actually bursting down Lost, though. He was playing on the edge. Lost was trying to hold on to his ult for so long there, and he holds on so long that Alphari actually bursts him down. Thought maybe that might be the opening for Team Liquid, but the power of Seraphine prevails, constantly healing up Spica, being able to keep him alive for so long, buying extra time for the Nautilus to come back, and as soon as SwordArt is there, then Spica goes down and SwordArt's able to get the ultimate off, so counter kill there for TSM. And you got to count your blessings as far as like farming extra super minions coming into you, baby. At least you're getting gold this way. Level 16 now on Lost for the Xayah. And the bonus of not using his summoners or his ultimate before, he's got them up for this time.
All right, inhibitors respawning here in less than 15 seconds. 2 inhibs will be standing once more for TSM, and they'll do everything they can to try to defend these. If TSM want to stabilize this game, they'll have to get to the point where they're not just stuck in the base over and over again. But TL will not allow that anytime soon. Engage coming down into CoreJJ, but that's not the guy they need. Santorin's gonna die instantly. SwordArt will be the trade. Spica here on the front line, tanking a lot of damage, stays alive thanks to CC immunity. Lost provides a ton of firepower here when TSM is able to find these guys. Santorin just melts like he's made out of paper mache. Bottom lane inhibitor falls yet again after one more auto attack. So TSM will still gain no actual presence over the map. They're stuck in the same situation, but they're still breaking even here in the fights, and for now, that's enough to hold on. More super minions pouring in. Team Liquid still looking to maybe end here. Big difference between the teams right now is the health bars. CoreJJ with only half. If he goes in, he's pretty much guaranteed to die. There's no stopwatch available. There's no aggro drop. Tactical using the Gale Force to back himself up a little bit as Huni goes forward with the body slam. Alphari building up that Gnar bar, but he gets rooted while he's still small. A lot of damage coming down. CoreJJ with a solar flare. Lost steps back, and Team Liquid are deciding now's about the time to back away. Sivir ulti still providing a little bit of extra haste here, and they're all walking it off. TL will be stopped for the second time.
I hope everybody's got extra snacks and are ready to camp out here, because TSM they're guarding this Nexus turret with their lives. They are not going anywhere. Team Liquid can't get near it. They have split pushed as far as you can split push. You can't split a single point on the map, so TSM get to say grouped up as 5. And again, with the Elder Dragon being so far away, since TSM got the first 3 dragons, they actually don't have that guaranteed teamfight ender of Team Liquid being able to snap up an Elder Dragon and then come with the execution damage. They just have to settle for another Baron. Luckily for them, yes, they can keep cycling these inhibitors, and so taking inhibitors on bottom and mid again, you just recycle the timers, so super minions will be flooding in and you gain a longer timer. But TSM, you can see the power of this team fight. The Ardent Sensor was added on for PowerOfEvil, and this Seraphine full value of all these auras stacking up. Lost is just a machine gun on this Xayah. He did only have to use the cleanse, so still also has plenty of cooldowns for this team fight. Team Liquid, though, should have an easy time at the Baron, get that purple buff, and then return to your sieging duties.
Okay, at least TSM have one inhibitor back. That is the longest lifespan of an inhibitor for a while here on the side of TSM, but Huni's getting caught out in a solo situation. Alphari putting the auto attacks in, doesn't want to overextend there for the big man, so backs off and just allows his team to take Baron yet again. The gold lead is actually smaller than it was last time. Last time around it was 12,500, right now it's only 12,000. So progress for TSM, but still a bad situation, and TL's coming right back in there. They are not done yet, my friends.
Okay, eyes on tactical for TSM. If you are able to either zone tactical or take him down, there is so much less damage. Oh, the ult actually forced out really early here onto Lost, so no Xayah ultimate, and the tower taking damage.
The tower being so low is very important. That thing's gonna die to the cannon minion. TSM will not have anything left to fight on top of. They will have no more advantages here in this team fight if that cannon minion gets one more shot and it's gone. Nexus is open. Every turret under TSM's control has been destroyed. This is all they have left to defend, and they must make their defense here. Lost has no ulti. Alphari's going in. The stun, the damage, the wombo combo. TSM, they get the kill back onto Santorin, and they're still trying to fight. SwordArt's the first one to die. Jensen gets himself away. Lost is still able to free fire, finding plenty of damage there. They're going right back in. They find the kill on Xayah. That's it. It's all over without the firepower coming out of Lost. TSM, they defend as long as they can. But Team Liquid, 3-1, take them down.
CoreJJ has had enough of this standoff. He flashes in, he gets the root onto Lost, and they take down the Xayah. Team Liquid at the end, up against this giant, powerful team fight of TSM. They finally make it across the finish line here. 4 victories here for Team Liquid. Now, what a matchup. Honestly, really exciting game here from Team Liquid. They will put a stamp on this playoffs already, throwing down against TSM, who were 2-0 versus them in the regular season. They have defeated some of their inner demons, some of the early game. Maybe some issues still with some of the rocket jumps getting very aggressive, but honestly, aside from that, Tactical played very, very well. And honestly, I would still like to keep the flavor, you know, the extra chuckles every once in a while of those aggressive plays in.
Yeah, and honestly, at the very end of the game, 5-0-13 for Jensen's Twisted Fate. The one person in this game who didn't die at all. Very, very important for making this game happen. Honestly, Team Liquid's got to be happy about that. You mentioned finally getting some wins against TSM, considering they were 0-2 in the regular season. Now it's tied up 3-3 overall with this 3-1 win, and Team Liquid gets to stay in the winner's bracket. All the TSM fans out there, remember, this is double elimination, except for the teams that came in at 5th and 6th seeds. So TSM will now still be able to compete in the lower bracket. Now, one more loss and they are out. But their journey is not over. TSM fans will remember back in summer when they lost to the Golden Guardians there in that first round, came back to win the whole thing. That's still alive, but TL, man, looking scary still here in the upper bracket.
They certainly are. Definitely an exciting one, but as you said, because of the lower bracket, not the end of the story, just a great opener, and we will continue tomorrow with our Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves matchup.
And with that Team Liquid victory, they are advancing further in the upper bracket, of course. But you don't want to go anywhere, because after the break with Tigress, we'll be talking to Jensen in our Verizon post-game